before we do anything, I want to take the temperature of the water, okay?
33.
Is it 33?
I want a 32 and a half.
They are members of the 20 Fathom Club, a group of scuba divers who celebrate the new year by taking a chilly plunge beneath the waters of Lake Michigan. The group met this morning just south of Navy Pier to make their annual dive, and even with the protective wet or dry suits, it's still pretty cold in the frigid waters. Onlookers were bundled against the cold while this group of divers cavorted in the water like a bunch of playful seals.
I've been doing it for 6 years. I started the whole thing. Came out here one day after a New Year's Eve party and decided we were going diving. It was 14 below zero, and we've been doing it ever since.
I tell you, we practice here so that we can dive in places like Jamaica and all those exotic places.
Visibility under the lake surface was poor, less than a foot. The water churned murky by recent storms. But the 20 Fathom members didn't mind. They were having fun.
How do you do this?
Just for fun.
That's a heck of a way to have fun.
It's a sobering up dive.
Why? Well, start the year off right. I do this crazy thing and it keeps me straight for the rest of the year.
Divers have a reputation of being crazy, and I think we have to maintain that reputation.
Getting out of the water was no easy task either. The slippery surface of the snow glazed with ice made getting a footing or handhold very difficult. Need some help or you'll slide right back in.
What's it like under that water?
It's cold. 33 degrees.
Donning a borrowed wetsuit, I decided to find out what diving on New Year's Day was like. Just getting dressed was an experience.
Yeah, let him warm up.
I was literally getting cold feet, thinking about what was to come. I added some fins and a set of goggles and a snorkel to my attire. I did not strap on an aqualung because I didn't plan to be in the water that long anyway. I just wanted to see what it felt like. And I found out.
This is a wetsuit.
Yeah.
It seeps in.
Now you know the reason why they call it a wetsuit.
It was cold. Wetsuits are just that. Water seeps in and is heated by the body, forming a protective layer of warm water inside the suit. But believe me, it takes a little time to warm up. After a while, though, it's kind of fun. Just like a summer's day in Antarctica.
I found the craziest people in Chicago on New Year's Day. They're called the 20 Fathom Club. But then again, what am I doing here? This is Bob Wallace, going for a swim on New Year's Day. Yeah. For Channel 2 News. Oh, this is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Resembling a group of aquatic mammalian technoids, they gathered along the lakefront south of Navy Pier this morning. They are members of the 20 Fathoms Club, a Chicago scuba diver organization, and it was time for the club's annual New Year's Day dive. Diving in this kind of weather presents all sorts of problems, not the least of which is the cold temperatures. Many of the divers today wore dry suits, watertight outfits that allow the wearing of several layers of warm winter clothing underneath to provide protection from the cold.
This is a wetsuit. The only thing that keeps you warm is a layer of water that gets in the suit once you get in the water. And that initial plunge is best hangover cure known to man after New Year's Eve. Whew.
Before I took my plunge, several of the 20 Fathom Clubbers had already begun their New Year's dive into the frigid, cloudy waters of Lake Michigan. Just getting into the lake was one of the biggest problems. There are lots of rocks just below the surface here, and the standard back-first scuba diver entry does not always work. The club has been doing this for 8 years now, and the number of divers is increasing. It's becoming an annual be-in for the scuba diving set.
We have fun every year doing it. This year we start having a barbecue, and we get more people out, and it starts to become a regular ritual.
Now you got what, about 20, 30 divers here today?
About 20 people out today.
That's more than last year.
That's a lot more than last year. I think last year we had about 10.
Yeah.
The first year we had 3.
Do you see the day, maybe 10 years from now, there'll be 400 people splashing around like a bunch of whales?
Then it won't be any fun anymore. Then we'll think of something else crazy to do.
A Of course, there were those divers who were using this morning's dive as an extension of last night's New Year's Eve celebration.
Does this really work? Is this a good hangover cure?
Huh?
Is this
It
a good
sure
hangover
is.
cure? Can you hear me with all that stuff around you?
Yes. Do I act drunk to you now?
No.
Okay.
Finally, I could put off the inevitable no longer. As they say here at Channel 2, then it was my turn. Looking somewhat like a plump harbor seal, I gingerly began my New Year's Day dip.
I can feel it going in my ankle.
Wait, coming in on me. But good.
Actually, once you get in, as the old saying goes, it's not all that bad. This is my second New Year's Day dive, and if my memory serves me, last year was even colder.
The hardest part is walking on this rocky bottom.
Well, take about a few more steps out. You will.
Anyway, what a way to celebrate New Year's. This is Bob Wallace with the 20 Fathom Club, curing a hangover for Channel 2 News.
Okay, you ready to go, Franz?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's head out.
The Chicago equivalent of the polar bears that roam the ice floes of the Arctic is a group of scuba divers called the 20 Fathom Club. For 12 years now, club members have gathered at the lakefront just south of Navy Pier to participate in a New Year's Day dive. The water temperature is icy. Sometimes there is ice in the water. Today, the water was covered by ice, so the 20 Fathom Clubbers had to go out a ways to find a hole in the ice at the end of the breakwater.
That's the hard way to get in.
Why would normally sane individuals, including myself, abandon all intelligent standards of behavior to jump into frigid Lake Michigan on New Year's Day?
It's just like, you know, when you start the year this way, the rest of the year is all downhill. You can't lose.
Well, it's cold, it's dark, but divers have more fun. So we do it every year, but we're getting smarter. We're doing it later and later in the day. It used to be 6 o'clock in the morning. Now most people are sober by the time we dive.
What else are you supposed to do on New Year's Day? After you wake up, you gotta get refreshed, you jump in the water. Well, if there's no water, you chop the ice and you jump in the ice.
It was so cold that regulators in the divers' air tanks were freezing up, letting out a continuous hiss of compressed air. But a little hot water in the regulator cured that problem, at least for a few minutes until it froze up again.
Well, I knew I'd have to do this. This is the deep one, huh?
Yeah, you got it.
This is Bob Wallace. Happy New Year from the 20 Fathom Club.
Approaching the deep hole in the ice, my weight was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. I broke off the floe we were all standing on.
I gotta lose weight. I'll collapse in the ice.
Now I know how the olive in the martini feels. Getting out was a chore. Dressed in the wetsuit, I resemble some sort of strange sea creature. A beached whale would probably be the most accurate description. But there was some good in my plunge. I made the hole bigger. Look at the size of the chunk I broke off.
I don't know why I do this.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
My fingers are frozen, but it's a lot of fun. Yes. Bob Wallace with the 20 Fathom Club.
You go right under.
Going for dip. Channel 2 News. New Year's Day.